All right, now joined by Movie Talk with Brock to talk about Best Supporting Actor. How you doing, Brock?
I'm good. How you doing, Sir Matt?
Very good. Sick of these movies. sick of these people.
I feel you.
I don't want to talk about Bob Dylan anymore. But just a few more days. All right, we're doing Best Supporting Actor. Here are the nominees: Yura Borisov for ANORA, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So we'll go in alphabetical order and talk about Yura Borisov in ANORA. What do you think of this movie and this performance?
I loved ANORA. I was in my top 10 last year. I'm Team Igor as Neon. I tweeted that after I went and saw it. And marketing hid this character. Didn't think he was, didn't really know what the movie was going to be about, but he was just delightful. He was so disconnected from all the other characters. He was I feel like the most grounded, and that ending with Norton, no spoilers for people who haven't seen it, very impactful. And I love this performance. Would love to see him win. Probably not gonna happen, but I'm glad he got a nomination. But yeah, he was easily my favorite character.
It's an impressive nomination because he is a very subdued character, very lurks in the background. And I knew he was nominated for an Oscar, and I'm well into the movie being when is this guy gonna do something? Because so far this movie has been a two-hander, and then it switches, and Toros, I forgot the actor who plays him, then becomes a major character, but still Yura is just kind of lurking in the background. But playing this guy who very much empathizes with ANORA, there's clearly some class solidarity because he's this guy who just gets continually shat on by these Russian oligarchs and sees and sympathizes with her. Doesn't no spoilers, but isn't a typical save the day, but does what he can, and it's impressive, and it's a very sweet and funny performance.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's a reason he is the one to first call her by her actual name, which is ANORA, so it ties in well to the story.
Yeah, and you can just feel so much history in his interactions with these people, with these Russian mob clowns.
Yeah, to say the least.
And so he'll be subversive wherever he can. Yeah, I like this performance. I personally probably would have, I don't know if this would be lead or supporting, but the actor who plays Vanya in that movie, I would have nominated. I don't know if you'd consider that a lead performance or a supporting performance, but what a great job playing the most despicable character in movie history.
Yeah. Everyone, even as I've seen him at the awards show, I'm I want to punch that.
Yeah, dude. That guy really just looks like it.
He looks like a punchable dude who sucks at Call of Duty. Yeah,
which is probably, people probably think well, that's just who this guy is. I don't know anything about this guy, but I bet that's who this guy is. But no, man, it's acting. When you don't like a character, it means the actor's doing their job.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. He did it very well. Yeah, I think that would probably go under Best Actor because he's a lead, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the movie is a two-hander with those two, with Mikey Madison.
Yeah,
and the Russian actor whose name I don't remember. One day I'll learn his name. But yeah, I love ANORA, and I love all the performances, and this is a great nomination. Okay, we have Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain. What do you think?
Yes, very well deserved. I think this is ultimately probably gonna be the guy that's gonna win it. He's been cleaning house on the award circuit. Even last night at the SAGs, he was kind of he just kind of knew he was gonna win. He's I don't really know what else to say, you know, because he's there's only so many things you could say. I liked Real Pain. I had a 4 out of 5. There's some of my, I feel like people like this movie a lot more with me. I think his performance was good. I think sometimes he's an asshole too much in the movie. I think that was my biggest criticism of the movie. He's trying to very unlikable. My gosh, almost irredeemable. But there's a very powerful scene with him, and you probably know what I'm talking about. That I was oh, okay, that was good. And Kieran Culkin, I liked him in Succession. Some people try to say this is the same character. That's crazy. That's a crazy take.
It's just because it's just him. I mean, it's because he looks and sounds that way. And I certainly, as the first few minutes of the movie, I thought both him and Eisenberg, it's you're just doing your things. The performances take a while for them to reveal themselves. But man, I have known this guy. I have known the person he plays in this movie. He has a certain unspecified mental illness, but I have known a handful of guys who behave this way and this inexplicably and will drive you crazy, but you also love them, and the things that you love about them are also the things that make you hate them. And he plays that and carries that the entire time. The thing that the scene that like most communicated that to me, where I was like, God, I know somebody who would do that exact same thing, is, and this is a mild spoiler for a real pain, people. He unleashes fury on the tour guide and criticizes the tour guide for being too too blasé or too sort of fact and trivia based as they go on this Holocaust tour of Ireland, and just lays into him in front of everybody. And the guy handles it with like some grace, but clearly is very wounded by this. A few days later, the tour guide comes up to him and he says, I've been doing these tours for 5 years. I always ask for feedback. Nobody has ever given me feedback until you. And I'm so grateful. And I really took it to heart. And Kieran Culkin just like, oh, really? What did I say? And like, he doesn't even, it's unclear if he even remembers that he did this. And I have seen that literally happen in real life with people.
That's crazy.
So it just really spoke to me. And I think this is a great performance, and I will be happy if he wins. And if you watch interviews with him and Jesse Eisenberg, it's just very fun to see. They are just these two guys in real life. Not as crazy, but the dynamic is there.
For sure.
Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown playing Pete Seeger.
This is honestly, I thought one I would be okay, and we'll talk about it, that if it was someone else. I think a very fine performance. I think Complete Unknown, I think I enjoy the performances more than I do the overall movie, if that makes sense. Like, especially Timothée Chalamet. Don't have a huge attachment to Bob Dylan, but I can, I like James Mangold. Logan's one of my favorite comic book movies. I love Ford v Ferrari, so I was very much looking forward to that. And I thought Edward Norton, he's a good actor. Sometimes I heard he's kind of an a-hole.
I think he's like one of the top a-holes in Hollywood. Legendarily.
Which is interesting, but it definitely makes sense. But yeah, fine performance. I
think
I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really have too much to say on it. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at how much Edward Norton, who I've never loved as an actor, won me over with just his like warmth in this role.
Yeah.
And then I realized, no, but he's also that way in Wes Anderson movies. He kind of usually plays a very gentle, un-Edward Norton man in Wes Anderson movies. So it's not like I've never seen it before, but I was impressed with how much he's able to embody just this warmth and goodness of Pete Seeger. And I've said it a couple other times when I talked about this movie, ultimately a naivete. Like he is being a little naive about the role that folk music can play in the world, or that any music can play. And like ultimately is like, thinks of himself as a king of this like very, very small mountain, and is kind of sad that it's going away.
Very niche outer. Yeah. I think warmth is very good. Like, it was just kind of like very inviting character. I think that's a good way to describe it. It was a fine performance. That didn't blow me away.
Yeah. Guy Pearce in The Brutalist playing, I'm seeing his character's name is Satan. He's playing Satan.
Yeah.
What do you think of The Brutalist?
He certainly is. Brutalist, again, another movie. Like, it's good. 3.5 out of 5. I can appreciate the epicness of it. I can appreciate what it's doing with the immigration story. It's very relevant. Guy Pearce is really good. He's kind of a son of a bitch, in the end, as the story he is, as the story progresses. Great actor. And I think it was a very, very good performance. It's probably one of the stronger ones, I would say, in this category.
But you didn't like the movie. That it seems like you're not crazy about the movie.
3.5 out of 5. I'll never watch. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, you're gonna have to carve out a whole day to watch it,
dude. For real. I mean, like, and I think the director Brady Corbet, he's kind of turned me off a little bit with some of his comments. Like, I think the laziest thing any director can do when they're complaining about either how much money their movie did not make, or just this, like, talking about justifying their length of a movie, is when they like, oh, people are just lazy. They just want to watch comic book movies that are 3 hour long. It's like, there's only 2 comic book movies that are ever 3 hour long. It's just, I'm a guy where I'm like, just because something is good, and a lot of these movies fall in this category, something is good, it's great, doesn't mean it's marketable. No,
like, there's no world in which this movie was going to be a hit.
No, yeah. So I can appreciate it. I mean, it's really good. I think Guy Pearce, it was like really, really strong performance. I'm just like, this guy's a monster. And as the movie progresses, I'm just like, but I couldn't look away. It's very compelling as hell.
Yes, I love this movie. It's one of my favorites of the year, and Guy Pearce is a big reason why. I love a deliciously evil guy who just seethes resentment, believes he has just owed everything in the world. Unclear if he has any talents or anything remarkable at all about him other than maybe being in the right place at the right time. But he has this monologue about the way he treated his parents when they asked him for help and how giddy he was to deny them help. And you're just like, God, you
just vicious,
just disgusting. And I think there's something so well observed about a guy who's like, he very much wants to help Adrian Brody's character. And then by helping him, he starts to really, really resent him. And I think that's a thing people do is like, I'm offering you something. And if you take it, I will only ever resent it. You can only ever lose. You can never make it back up to me. Especially if my help allows you to like rise to a station where I feel like you don't deserve it. Like I found you off the scrap heap, and that is just this character. Guy Pearce has been so great for so long. I'm glad he finally got a good nomination, and it's a great performance.
It is. It is.
And even though the movie will take you 8.5 hours to watch, I still suggest you watch it. Watch it at home. Take some breaks. It's fine. You don't have to be like Brady Corbet says and go sit quietly in a theater and ruminate on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, we have Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn in The Apprentice. What do we think, Brock?
The most slept on performance in this category, easily. A bunch of people did not go see this movie on both sides of the political party for their different reasons. It's a shame. I think more people are starting to see it now. And
it's a fun movie.
It's incredibly fun. And this guy, this is the guy who created Trump. Big reason, big influence. And like there's the scene that really took me back, which I'm like, oh yeah, I think I watched this like November. It was when I got to see it. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get an Oscar nomination. Is the courtroom scene where he's talking about like trying to prove that essentially Trump was not discriminating blacks, with his housing and whatnot, and just twisting the narrative. And I'm like, oh my God, that is awful. Just how he trains Trump and everything. It's a great performance. If I would choose, I would personally probably give it to him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was riveted by his performance.
Yeah, I mean, he takes a big swing in doing the voice, a very silly, like
he does.
But the thing about Roy Cohn and Donald Trump is they have these kind of heightened, goofy voices. But a lot of people will say that's part of the appeal of these guys, weirdly. And it's a thing where you look back in history, very powerful men will often have ridiculous voices. I've also noticed this doesn't have anything to do with anything else. You'll often find really, really powerful people are described as having a very strong smell. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it's like if there's a very big attribute, it's like for some reason that goes into you being impressed with it. Like nobody could sound this ridiculous and be that powerful if they're not the real deal.
Yeah, and what I really liked about him and Sebastian Stan is like people will say, "Oh, it's like like they're just doing an impersonation." Like it's a genuine impersonation, though. Like both of their voices and what they're doing with the performance. Like it's not like over the top. It's like they are modeling these guys. And like I don't know who this guy was. I'm doing my research, looking at the interview video. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's pretty.
Well, I think that the reason for that is Roy Cohn himself is putting on a performance.
Yes, exactly.
And so Jeremy Strong, like it is an active imitation, but the character himself is creating this persona for the world to consume.
Yeah, like I talked to some of my friends, like I don't want to see some guy doing a Trump impersonation for 2 hours. I'm like, it's genuine though. Like it's a performance, which I wish just more people would have, went and saw it.
Yeah, and I was saying this when I talked about Sebastian Stan. Is like think of how difficult an ass that is play Donald Trump. Play him, make him not ridiculous, make us have to take him seriously as a human being, which is none of us want to do. And God damn it worked on me.
It did.
And to play somebody who's just not complicated, who is exactly what you see is what you get with Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Well, you have a good sense of this. Like, what does the industry think of Jeremy Strong? I remember Brian Cox a few years ago kind of making fun of him. He's like, he takes the acting very, very seriously.
Yeah, it's always a catch-22, I feel like, within the industry, because it's like you have like the method acting, and there are certain people who go too far, right? And like in their craft. But a guy like Jeremy Strong, as I've seen some of his movies, he's very balanced in a lot of his performances. And I just think simply, I mean, I'll call a spade a spade. The movie's not gonna. I think it got some nominations once it kind of got pushed back, and the studio started to push a little bit more, like with the movie itself. But they simply won't give it just because it's in a movie with Trump. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But the Academy and how they vote, it's very political. Even though people will try to say it's not. I think it's very political.
If they're trying to get attention, the best thing they could do is give it to Sebastian Stan. Imagine the attention you would get.
Oh man, that would be insane. They won't have the guts to do it.
I mean, yeah, it's just thousands of individual people voting.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're acting as a whole block, but sometimes it seems like they do. So I don't know.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I would agree with that. But yeah, it sucks. See, I mean, there may be, you could say that there's a couple people who have better performances and that's fine. But I personally believe he probably wouldn't win it because of that.
Yeah.
People probably would disagree, but I think that's the truth.
So your prediction for who is going to win is Kieran Culkin?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it's even close.
Your personal pick would be Jeremy Strong of these five?
Yeah, I would say Jeremy Strong.
Okay.
I would say Jeremy Strong.
Do you have any snubs?
First thing comes to mind, have you seen Sing Sing?
Uh-huh.
24's? Clarence Macklin, easily.
Damn it, Brock! Easily. I was going to wow you with my ballot because I was going to take 3 people off and add 2 new people, one of whom is Clarence Macklin, who, when I watched that movie, I said that guy's a goddamn movie star. And then I was reading an interview with the director, and he said the first time I met this guy, I thought this guy's a movie star. I was like, I think the same thing the director thinks.
Yeah, and like almost like Coleman Domingo, rightfully so. He got it as an Oscar nomination, but his Clarence has the best performance in the film, I think, by a mile, because it comes from a raw place because he was actually in the program.
Yeah, I think I might have like underrated Coleman Domingo as a result because I found Macklin Divine Eye. They're both named Divine. I keep fixing up which one's which. Divine Eye, Clarence Macklin, is just so compelling as a screen presence like no one I've ever seen. And that's one of the tricks of the movie is to employ these non-professional actors who just look like real people and have real people energy. You look at Coleman Domingo and you're like, you're great, but I know you're an actor. You look at the non-professional actors and you're like, I just love seeing these guys. And
there's a level of authenticity that they bring, especially with Clarence, that like you're not gonna be able to get that with an actor. And I think it was perfectly directed and conveyed. Shame on A24 though, because it was poorly distributed and they didn't push for this movie well enough.
I feel like this is a movie that could have been like a kind of sleeper hit because it's.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a little bit of, it's a dark movie, but it is a little bit of a crowd pleaser. And it's funny and the play is delightful to see. And I think that would be fun to see in a crowd of people who are really into it. I don't mean like it could have made $100 million, but I think this could be like hey, that movie made $10 million.
Yeah.
And because all the participants have equity in the movie, they would have gotten that money instead of studio chief.
Yeah. Like how cool would it have been if this movie was shown in like prisons across the country? You know, like there's so much more they could have done with this, you know, and because this is my number 3 favorite movie of the year and like of last year. And I just was like, A24 lost a lot of respect for me, for sure.
Do you have any other snubs? Well, so who would you remove? You'd remove Edward Norton?
I'd probably remove Edward Norton.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably remove Edward Norton. Sorry. I would probably say Denzel too. Honestly, just because he was the only good, in my opinion, a great part about Gladiator 2. He carried that movie on his back. You know,
I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised he didn't get a nomination just because it's Denzel, and it's like Denzel was in a movie. So give him an nod. But I've seen, it's his 45th best performance. But still, it's the best thing about the movie, and I'm just glad to see him in a movie.
I don't know. Do you know like LeBron James, right? Like obviously you're aware who that is. I kind of call it like it's the LeBron effect, kind of what Denzel.
Who's this now?
No, I'm just kidding. LeBron James. It's someone who's been so good for so long. It's just the standard, and people are just so used to that. But you still can't take it for granted, in my opinion.
Yes. In fact, if you go watch the movie, he first won an Oscar for this movie called Glory from 1989. But if you go back to it now, you watch it and you're like, but it's just Denzel Washington doing his thing. But you have to remember that wasn't always something people were used to. They were like, oh my God, this performance.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing that's like Michael Jordan rookie year, you know, like that. At the time, it was great. Yeah, sorry, better comparison. Michael Jordan.
I mean, I go LeBron over Jordan myself, but
Okay,
you know.
that's all right. That's all right. I mean, it's 1 and 2. Catch me on either day. It might go back for that anyway.
It's the longevity, and the defense,
Sure.
I guess. But hey, they're both good. That's my opinion. Both good.
Two greatest to ever play the game.
So this is my ballot. So I would remove Yura Borisov. Sorry, I'd remove Edward Norton. Remove Jeremy Strong.
Oh, Jeremy, God. Okay.
I keep Kieran Culkin. I keep Guy Pearce. Now I'm going to add maybe my favorite actor who currently acts in movies, who I got to see for the first time wear a mullet, and that is Ed Harris in Love Life's Bleeding.
Oh, man. I forgot about that. That came out so early in the year. But great performance.
As a scary guy with a mullet who loves bugs and owns a gun range and also does lots of illegal stuff. As I said, I would go with Clarence Macklin from Sing Sing. What a great performance. But I think that my ultimate winner is a gentleman who we've all loved for a long time, but I was surprised he had this performance in him. And it's Chris Hemsworth from Furiosa.
Oh,
as Dementus. I am the Dementus. So glad to see him give a real performance. I love the Mad Max series. And I was shocked that somebody else was able to add to that long storied history of great villains. And it's Chris Hemsworth, his best performance of his career.
Do you have it in you to make it an epic? I love that line.
Yeah.
Love that line.
So incredible. His final confrontation with Furiosa is so great, where he thinks, wait a minute, we're the exact same. What are you talking about? You want to kill me? We're the same person. It's the rare we're not so different, you and I speech that actually works. So it's just so great.
I would agree.
Yeah. That's my winner. Is Chris Hemsworth. Never in a billion years would he have gotten nominated, though.
I totally forgot about that.
Brock, the last thing I want to do is just ask you to pick who you think will win Best Picture. Which movie will win?
Oh, Amelia Perez. No, I'm just kidding. If that happens, all right.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I
don't think so. Some of the controversy, some of the actor that came out, Carlos Sofia.
No, I know.
What's going on?
It's feeling like
I think they shifted.
I feel like there's a lot of Oscar voters who are like, "Fuck you, I'm going to do it anyway."
And they will have no one watch it next year. I guarantee that. Oh, so here I'll give you this. What do I think will win? I think The Brutalist will win. What do I want to win? I would love Dune Part 2 to win. I know it's not a shot in hell that's happening, but that was the most enthralling cinematic going experience last year. And it's disgusting how much the Academy has disrespected Denis Villeneuve. But
that's crazy.
But if I was a betting man, which I could bet, I'm not going to. I had a company reach out to me about that, like doing a video. I'm like, I'm not promoting gambling on a movie page. I'm not doing that. Because like you could do it on like DraftKings, Fan. There's so many apps.
Yes. Right now. Would you like to lose some money from your phone? Yes, I would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Pretty much. But yeah, what do I want to win? Dune Part 2. What I think will win is either The Brutalist or I can see Conclave winning after because they won Best Ensemble Cast at the SAG.
Oh, that's interesting. Night, so. Yeah, that could be like a it's everybody's second choice, and as a result, it gets whatever weird point system they use. I can see that.
Which I guess one more snub I forgot about. I did like Stanley Tucci in Conclave too. Liked him a lot.
Yeah, he deserves. I think he's been nominated once, but he's been so great forever.
He has,
and he was great in that movie. Dune. It's funny. It's like that movie. When it came out in March, I remember like Oscar prognosticators saying like cancel the rest of the year. It doesn't matter what else comes out. This is going to be the winner.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that disappeared pretty fast for some reason.
It's almost like it got punished for coming out so early in the year. I felt like.
Yeah. I almost feel like when Lord of the Rings came out and Lord of the Rings Return of the King won all the Oscars as like you did it. Congratulations for the entire series. I'm surprised Denis Villeneuve didn't get nominated just for like that aspect of it, like the scope of your achievement here.
You didn't even get a Best Director now.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's so strange that he didn't even get that. But yeah, that's so finally your number one movie of 2024.
Dune Part 2.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Brock. Everybody can check out your TikTok and all your other things. I have links to your videos in the description, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me as always.
My pleasure.